The global economy isn't shifting, it's breaking. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney called it a rupture, an irreversible break with America that has thrown trade, trust, and stability into chaos. It all started with water. Donald Trump's demand to redirect Canada's freshwater turned a vital resource into a political weapon, igniting a showdown between Washington and Ottawa. In February 2025, Trump delayed a 25% tariff for 30 days, narrowly avoiding a trade war. But that pause only fueled Canadian anger, with calls to boycott U.S. goods and even cut off oil exports. By April, Indigenous and environmental groups warned, water sovereignty is non-negotiable. They vowed Canada would never surrender its rivers or lakes to foreign control. Instead of easing tensions, Trump doubled down. He paused talks on the 61-year-old Columbia River Treaty, then pulled out of a major salmon restoration deal with U.S. states and native tribes, mocking it as radical environmentalism. Carney declared the U.S. Canada relationship fractured beyond repair. Washington wanted Canada's water while slashing billions from its own water infrastructure budget, cuts that threatened millions of Americans with poisoned pipes and contamination. Carney's message was clear: hope is not a strategy. Canada would no longer wait for U.S. permission. It would take control of its own future. First came defense. For decades, 70 cents of every Canadian defense dollar went to U.S. contractors. That ends now. Billions are being redirected into Canadian shipyards, aerospace, and workers at home. Next came a Buy Canadian revolution. Ottawa is prioritizing local firms for everything from infrastructure to IT, turning government spending into fuel for Canada's economy instead of America's. To shield businesses from U.S. retaliation, Carney doubled Canada's support fund to $1 billion. With grants and long-term loans, Canadian companies are expanding into Europe and Asia, breaking the dependence on the U.S. market. The impact on America is real. U.S. exports to Canada fell nearly 8% in early 2025. Daily cross-border trade plunged 16%. And nearly 1 million American jobs are now at risk. Washington's credibility is collapsing. If the U.S. can threaten its closest ally over water, how can any partner feel secure? Trust, the foundation of alliances, is eroding fast. Meanwhile, Canada is rising as a stronger, more independent power. Carney's declaration marked the end of an era. Canada will no longer live in America's shadow. And the world is shifting with it. At a BRICS summit in China, leaders of Russia, India, and China smiled like old friends, openly challenging U.S. dominance. Their economies together now outweigh the G7. Trump's tariffs have only accelerated this shift. India, once seen as Washington's key ally, is now openly exploring deeper ties with Russia and China, after being hit with crushing U.S. tariffs. Even Canada, once America's most loyal partner, is now weighing closer ties with BRICS. A G7 country turning away from Washington would have been unthinkable just years ago. The America First policy is backfiring. Instead of securing dominance, it is fueling a multipolar world where U.S. influence shrinks, allies drift, and rivals rise. And the trade war is spreading. Trump has now threatened a 50% tariff on all European imports. Germany's automakers are freezing shipments, U.S. car lots are drying up, and the EU is ready to strike back with $100 billion in counter-tariffs. Consumers in America face shortages, higher prices, and fewer choices. Meanwhile, Europe braces for recession and global supply chains buckle under the pressure. This isn't just a tariff fight. It's the collapse of the old order. A world once centered on Washington is fracturing before our eyes. If you found this breakdown valuable, don't forget to subscribe to the Untold Compass for more deep dives into global shifts. Drop a comment with your thoughts, share this video with friends, and stay tuned, because the next chapter in this story is just beginning.